Hey everybody, my name is Paul Austin Jr., aka Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/BoyGreen25, everybody. Before we go any further, like the video, hit subscribe down below for more sexy, juicy New York Jets content. And I use the word sexy because Mel Kiper Jr. dropped his 1.0 mock draft today on Wednesday, January 25th, and we are immediately reacting to it. We're immediately going to talk about it because it's draft season, baby, and it's the best time of the year. And let's waste no further time. We're going to get right into it. And if you guys would like to follow along, down below in the description is an article I wrote for Heavy on Jets talking about this selection, and we can kind of all walk through this together. In Mel Kiper's 1.0 mock draft, he gave the Jets a sexy new weapon for their offense, Jackson Smith and Jigba, the wide receiver out of Ohio State. Here's what Mel Kiper had to say about the selection, saying, I thought about taking an offensive lineman here, and I'm going to kind of include my own opinion as we're kind of reading through this, and that will be the offensive line pick will be the sexy pick as long as the Jets hold the number 13 overall pick. Wink, unless anything happens. But as long as they hold this number 13 overall pick, an offensive lineman is going to be the sexiest thing on the board and the most mock thing to the New York Jets. In this mock with Mel Kiper, the top two offensive tackles were already off the board before he even got to the Jets pick. We'll go in reverse order. Paris Johnson Jr. went at number 11 overall to the Tennessee Titans, and the other offensive tackle went off the board was Peter Skoronski, the offensive tackle for Northwestern, who went number 7. So keep that in mind before you start throwing all your pitchforks and fires at Mel Kiper. That again, the top two offensive tackles were off the board at that point, so you could determine whether or not having the third best offensive tackle still would have been better than a wide receiver. But Jackson Smith and Jigba is a wildly intriguing guy. First off, family reunion time, baby. He would be reunited with his former Ohio State teammate, of course, Garrett friggin' Wilson, who was a stud and offensive rookie of the year, perhaps, on that side of the ball, which would be the first offensive rookie of the year for the New York Jets in franchise history. But I digress. Jackson Smith and Jigba, first off, would be reunited with his old teammate. Now, when you look at his career, he's had 3 years in college. His freshman year, didn't really participate. His sophomore year, he freaking exploded. An explosive year, 95 catches, 1,606 yards. That's 1,606 on the receiving yard calendar. 9 touchdowns, 16.9 per clip. Again, he was explosive. He had all kinds of wild games, including a 300-yarder in that season in 13 games. Now, this past season, he only caught 5 passes. It was an injury-riddled campaign, a lot of hamstring issues for old Jackson Smith and Jigba, and most of that production I talked about in his sophomore campaign came in the slot. So if the Jets brought him in, they'd have to figure it out because they moved Elijah Moore from a primary outside guy to a primary slot guy. So they'd have to figure all that out. But again, that's not our problem. We're not the OC. We got to wait to hire one of those. That is their problem. That's what the kids call a first world problem. And they would have to figure out all that jazz in terms of how he would fit in the offense. But I can't lie. This would be a sexy addition. I get it. People want offensive linemen. People want more practical things. But a friggin' wide receiver would be absolutely spectacular. Here's more from Mel Kiper, who says he's a big fan of Smith and Jigba and believes he could be a star in the right situation. And he said New York will likely have a new starting quarterback in 2023. Yes, they will. And he believes his offense has a chance to be much improved. And while he says, yes, I know, this makes back-to-back top 15 picks on wide receivers for the Jets, Smith and Jigba is worth it because of what he and Wilson can do together. By the way, here's a little fun fact here. I'm a draft nerd. If the Jets took Smith and Jigba, that would be the third wide receiver they've taken in the first round since 1986. Keyshawn Johnson, of course, in 1996. Santana Moss in 2001. And Garrett Wilson this past year, 2022. Smith and Jigba potentially getting thrown into that mix. Again, it would be sexy and, quite frankly, looks left, looks right. Wide receiver is kind of a sneaky need for the Jets. Of course, Garrett Wilson's a friggin' superstar. Elijah Moore is coming off a rough year. I still think with the right quarterback, and I think they're going to get a sexy quarterback addition, and everyone's going to go, oh, there's Elijah Moore, baby. I think he is going to be great. And I know a lot of people have moved on because of the trade request stuff and other things of that nature. For me, I still think he could be a star. So I still buy that. But Corey Davis, I mean, there's a high likelihood the Jets could be moving on. You guys can check out my interview with Zach Rosenblatt, Jets insider, where we dove into a lot of the predictions for the offseason, including some Corey Davis nuggets. And there is a lot of thought that the Jets could hit the eject button. There's minimal dead cap, 666,000 and change, and the Jets could save over 9 million on the cap if they moved on from Corey Davis. Now, I think Corey Davis has been sort of underwhelming, but he provides size and toughness to the receiving core. So if you replaced him with a slot guy, you'd still have to try to find some size. You have Denzel Mims, who I'm kind of intrigued with in a new offensive scheme, but there's a lot of questions there. So Corey Davis, if you remove him out, and Elijah Moore being kind of a question mark after his second year, again, wide receiver is a sneakier need than people think. Again, I get it. A lot of people will just hate this pick because they want trench warfare, baby, and I get it. But come on. I mean, as we go through all these mock drafts from pillar to post, A to Z, I love talking options. I love talking possibilities. And this is a sexy one from old Mel Kiper that I'm absolutely enthralled with. My juices are titillated. I cannot lie. And this would be sexy. What do you guys think? Make sure you dive into the comment section and we'll interact with each and every one of you about Jackson Smith and Jigba to the Jets. Are you a fan? Are you not a fan? Tell us what you think in the comments down below, and we'll get everybody flowing. Thanks, everybody, for joining us again. Like the video, hit subscribe down below for more fantastic New York Jets content right here on Boy Green's channel. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time.